Hello there, everybody. Welcome back. I'm here to be ranking the movies I've seen in 2022 from worst to first, which, if you've been following my channel for the past couple of years, it's a series. It's like a tradition where it's one of my end of the year videos that I love to do, where I rank every single movie I've seen from worst, which is, bad, to first, which is my personal favorite. So with all that due, let's just get right into it. So at number 19 is The Northman, number 18 is Thor, Love and Thunder, and number 17 is Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery. So why The Northman's at the bottom? Well, The Northman, while well made and solidly acted, was just such a bizarre, weird movie that it just didn't sit right with me watching it, and it felt kind of like a ripoff of Hamlet, even if I guess Hamlet did, kind of take inspiration from it, but I just didn't like the movie overall. And in front of that is Thor, Love and Thunder, which upon seeing it originally, and I believe even in my review, I thought it was nice, it was alright, and I overall gave it a good review. But upon thinking about it, and because I love watching analysis videos on people talking about it, I just realized, my opinion kind of changed a bit, where I still think it's fine, but it just didn't feel like a good enough, reason to watch. It just felt like, kind of like how Adam Sandler does these type of movies with his friends, where they don't even try. They just go spend a bunch of money to do something for a movie. And it just felt like Taika Waititi, the director, filmed it in and didn't really care to make this movie. And it shows in a lot of aspects. I still am happy overall with the results of Natalie Portman's character Jane. But there was some stuff in there that I like. It's just overall I didn't really like it that much. And in front of that, we have the recent movie I watched, Glass Onion, which was a sequel to Knives Out that they put straight to Netflix. And upon watching it, like I said in my review recently, the first good amount is pretty solid, but it kind of drags in the middle with the bunch of flashbacks they have to kind of try to trick you and throw the rug on, whoa. And then, like I said in the video, the villain was really predictable, and it just kind of became a nuisance to watch. At number 16, we have Jurassic World Dominion, number 15, Bullet Train, and number 14, Rescued by Ruby. For Jurassic World Dominion, I was very let down by this movie, because watching it, they were marketing it and making you think it was the conclusion to the series. They brought back the OG characters from the original films, plus this new cast, Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, etc. And it just didn't have that grand scope that they were making you think. There was the plot just felt really bland and forgettable. And I don't know, it just didn't sit right with me how just kind of half-assed in a way the movie was, and that people still went and saw and all. I still enjoyed it. There was some solid action. It was nice to see all the crew back together again, but again, it just felt kind of mid. And above that, we have Bullet Train, which, I'm not gonna lie, I had a great time watching it. It was really fun to watch, but it's a dumb movie at its core, and that's kind of a negative and a positive, because you have a bunch of cool characters in it, and most of them are just there. You have a whole section where it introduces them, does a backstory, and then they die within 5 minutes. And a lot of that I felt like was to pad out the runtime, but it just made the movie feel kind of longer than it should have been, and takes away from characters you do like. But like I said, the cast overall did a solid performance. There's good action sequences, and it was really fun to watch this movie throughout on a bullet train. So it was a cool premise, but the movie was kind of... And then above that is Rescued by Ruby, which I bet no one's even heard of this movie. It was a movie earlier in the year that went to Netflix. And one of the main reasons, the only reason really I saw is because Grant Gustin from The Flash. But I believe it was based on a true story. And, it felt like a Hallmark movie, but I enjoyed it. It was nice. I liked the dynamic between the main character and the dog, and just the sequences throughout the movie. And I don't know, it just felt like a good feel movie, like a really heartfelt movie. At number 13, we have Black Adam. Number 12, Scream 2022. And number 11, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Now, Black Adam, I feel so bad for because it got destroyed by critics. Like, it got really bad reviews. It's said to have lost a lot of money, and they aren't making a sequel. And I believe even The Rock put out a statement about it, saying he's done and stuff like that, and he wished them the best. And it's so sad to see because this movie, like, upon hearing all that, you would think it would be like Catwoman or Daredevil from 2003 or something like something on that level, or Justice League, whatever you want to call it, like something trash, right? But what we got here was The Rock. I felt like he was really trying to be this character. They have a solid origin story with him. You have this, it's him basically being a fish out of water, being in a new time. You have a villain that's awful, I'm not gonna lie to you, but you have characters that we never saw on screen before, like I believe Hawkman. Dr. Fate was so cool. And you had this group of human characters that you follow throughout that The Rock tries to protect, or Black Adam tries to protect. And you liked them. They had some good moments. So it was just a solid movie. Not perfect, but it was enjoyable. So it's unfortunate that it did so bad money-wise and critic-wise. But above that, though, was The Scream 2022, which I believe was my first movie I saw this year. And for what it was, basically reinventing the franchise while also being, canon. It brought back the trio of Dewey, Sidney, and Courtney Cox's character. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but it brought them back along with integrating a new cast that I believe is going to be the core cast in the upcoming movies that they're making, like the new one coming out next year. So along those, it does it right, introducing a new cast and keeping the old in, having some creepy, tense moments, some interesting kills, and just something you want from the Scream franchise. It was really enjoyable, although there were some choices I disagreed with. And then above that was Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And with that movie, it was really emotional, heartfelt on what they did with Chadwick and all. But as I ranted on my review, I just disagree with some of what I felt their messaging was about what they wanted to see happen potentially in like real world society and stuff, and how it's really dangerous how they aren't concrete on what the villain's doing is bad, because you have a lot of crazies in the real world, like on Twitter and stuff, like when Killmonger said some of the stuff he did, people were like, Killmonger did nothing wrong, and you have people saying that for Namor in this movie. So in terms of that, the studio and the people who work on it not being discreet, saying, hey, these guys are in the wrong, don't side with them. And along with that and a few other stuff in the movie, that's why it's where it's at here. But it was still well made, well acted, really heartfelt, a movie about loss and, growing from that and just becoming your own. It was just a really solid movie. At number 10, we have the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Number 9, Turning Red. And number 8, Uncharted. The Guardians Holiday Special could have been just a cash grab, something they just make, to cash in on the brand. But James Gunn really loves these characters and holds them dear to him. So he wanted to make something heartfelt and sweet, along with, adding to the, lore of the characters in the MCU. Because this was a really fun, entertaining ride with, special guest Kevin Bacon. It ties into stuff about, like, for example, how Peter always mentions Kevin Bacon and stuff. It makes sense that they would do something like this, along with introducing characters that are potentially gonna have a bigger role in the next movie, like Cosmo the Space Dog. That character has sort of a role, kind of a cameo in a way, but they're like setting groundwork for where our characters are at in this lull between big event Avengers Endgame and big event Guardians 3, which is potentially the end for this cast. So it was necessary. It had some heartfelt moments. It was a great time. At number 9, as I said, was Turning Red, which was one of the casualties of Pixar being put straight to Disney Plus, free of cost, which was good because I wasn't going to pay $30 to watch a movie on the streaming service that I already pay for. But this movie was really great. It was well animated. I enjoyed some of the tunes in it. And I just loved the mother-daughter relationship throughout the movie. Really heartfelt, and it was just a great movie. And of course, my guilty pleasure, which was Uncharted. Now, this is one of my all-time favorite franchises in terms of video games, movies, whatever. I love it so much. I grew up with it. It's been a part of my life for so long. And I really wanted this movie to succeed. And I feel like it did in terms of money. Critics, not so much. But they made me, like, it has its flaws for sure. But I could totally see them making more because I think Tom Holland did a fine job as the character. And that's not me being a fanboy. I think he did a solid job. Mark Wahlberg was kind of iffy, but it grew on me throughout the movie. And even the person that played Chloe Fraser was good. Antonio Banderas as a villain. And the other lady as a villain. Like, it was well made. It did kind of copy off of parts from Uncharted 3 and 4 with, like, the plane scene going for the, the boat wreckage. Like, it kind of copied off, which was, I guess. But I still enjoyed the movie overall. At number 7, we have The Bad Guys. Number 6, The Batman. And number 5, Werewolves by Night. Now, The Bad Guys, DreamWorks really hit it out of the park this year in terms of their movies because recently, their past couple movies have been trash as I've, covered some of them, like How to Train Your Dragon 3 I thought was garbage. The Boss Baby was the Boss Baby. So it's just they've made a lot of garbage movies recently in past years. So for them to make a movie like this based off the novel in such a phenomenally animated way and a good message about not being the bad guy anymore and trying to redeem yourself and become someone that you want to be proud of. Like, just, I don't know, I just really enjoyed that type of message in terms of the great cast work and great animation. Now, the Batman was phenomenal from like just going in, you knew this movie was going to be cinema. Due to the casting of, for example, Robert Pattinson as Batman. He is a terrific actor. How it looks, the score, the action scenes, Batman actually being a detective for once in the movies, and a really great villain, kind of terrifying villain in a way, in the Riddler. It was just such a blast to watch. And at number 5, Werewolf by Night, it had its stylistic approach of being all in black and white. It was really fun, unique type of horror in a way by a film composer, Michael Giacchino, who is terrific at what he does. He also did a solid job here being his first directorial debut. And it had solid performances, a unique vision, and it was just really entertaining to watch. At number 4, we have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Number 3, we have Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And number 2, we have Top Gun Maverick. Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, I think it might be my favorite Marvel thing they put out this year. Because for me, I know it was kind of divisive amongst people, but for me, it checked off all the boxes I wanted it to do. For one, it really delved into the multiverse and had a lot of grand epic scopes that I was wanting. Sam Raimi, like I mentioned when I first saw the movie, he directed the hell out of the movie. It was great to see him come back doing another comic book movie. The cast was pretty good all around. I loved Scarlet Witch as the villain. It made so much sense with where her character was going. And I really hope they don't undercut the ending of the movie, because I think that would be a solid way to end her arc. And I just loved how they just went crazy with some of the stuff that they showed in this movie. I was just shocked throughout, and it was great. Now, number 3, we had Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which I'm a sucker for these movies because I love a good underdog story. And I think the cast and crew of these movies is the ultimate underdog story, at least in recent years for Hollywood, due to how uncertain and how awful that first look is from the first movie, and the fact that they were able to rebound and now they have a franchise. And I feel like this was bigger and better. They introduced more characters in the lore of Sonic, and they integrate it with these human characters in a pretty good way, like Tails, like Knuckles, teasing Shadow at the end. And I just love this movie. I know it's like, ew, you like da. I don't care, like, right? So I enjoyed the moments how Sonic just wants to have a family and be loved and stuff. I love that type of stuff, sappy stuff. And I like his friendship with Tails, Knuckles. Throughout the movie, they kind of had the rivalry, and then they became friends and teamed up against the greater evil. It was just such a fun movie to watch. And of course, probably one of the biggest shocks besides my number 1 was Top Gun Maverick, being as I never saw the original until, right before I saw this movie, obviously. And I didn't really have an interest, and it kept getting delayed due to, the shutdowns and all. So the fact that they were able to come out do so well at the box office and critic wise. And it left a big impression on me. It was well acted, it was well performed, it had a really heartfelt story to it that really ties in very well to the original. And it just blew me out of the park with the type of stunts and sequences they did with the fighter jets. And although the plot is kind of, generic, everything else is so spectacular, you kind of can forgive that. And of course, at number one, and I am shocked as you guys are probably going to be, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Now, I was not expecting this, and I was really debating on this or Top Gun Maverick, but I just went with my gut and my heart, and I chose this due to it did everything like a movie should do. It exceeds your expectations. It does everything almost, if not perfect, in terms of its animation, its voice work, the themes and messages it tackles, especially for a kids movie, and the fact that it can revitalize, rejuvenate the Shrek franchise, which has been dead for over a decade. Like, it just blew me away how it introduces new characters that you love and care about and you want to see more of. And this movie was terrific. I loved it so much. I really want to see it again because I'm just blown away at how they really could have made this a cash grab, just make it to make it, because I know it's been in development for a while, but they really said, no, we're gonna put our blood, sweat, and tears into this thing. We're gonna tell a story we want to tell. We're gonna put phenomenal animation, like Spider-Verse type animation, and we're just gonna run with this thing. And I want to see a third one. If they're gonna do this type of style, I want to see what DreamWorks is gonna do moving forward, because I don't know what's going on at that company, but with the Bad Guys animation and this, they're hitting it out of the park. But with all that said, those were all my movies I've seen worst to first for 2022. What do you guys think? What did you watch? Let me know down below in the comments. And thank you all so much for watching. It means the world to me. And if you want to hit the subscribe button and the bell as well to get notified, that'll be awesome. And I'll catch you on the next video. Bye!